Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, I have the Lager of the Lakes. Lake Brothers Lager is a 5% lager from Lake Brothers Beer Company in Detroit, Michigan. So when I start these videos, I like to try to give a little bit of my personal history with the beer or facts about the brewery itself, especially in the case of small breweries that are all around Michigan. After all, the point of my videos and this channel is to highlight breweries around the state. If I'm not really familiar with the brewery or the beer that I'm reviewing, I like to do some research so I can bring you guys good information. Plus, I don't want to sound like a dummy. But in the case of Lake Brothers, there really isn't all that much information out there. What I can tell you is that Lake Brothers is brewed out of Brew Detroit in Corktown, and Brew Detroit is a contract brewer that brews beers for several Michigan-based breweries like Greenbush, Saugatuck, and Lake Brothers. And it was also started by two brothers-in-law that were looking to create a great regional lager for Michigan, just like Shiner has done in Texas or Yuengling in Virginia. So about the actual beer, I think this is going to be the first lager I've reviewed for the channel so far. If you really break it down, there are only two main types of beer, lagers and ales. And the main difference between those two types are the yeast that they use. Now keep in mind, what I'm going to say next is going to be like the 30,000-foot view of how these things work. We can get into the finer details at some other point. Ales are typically fermented faster and in higher temperatures than lagers, and the top fermenting yeasts that are used are able to do that job and thrive in those environments, so they generally come out with a stronger taste and a higher ABV. Lagers, on the other hand, are made with bottom yeasts, which take a little bit more time and lower temperatures to get into gear. Lower temps also help produce those crisper and more mellow tastes that lagers typically have. The lower temperatures also help reduce the off flavors that the yeast can produce. Lagers are the most popular beers in the world. You might not know that being into craft beer because there aren't that many craft lagers. But that thanks is owed in part to Budweiser. So enough said. Let's dive into this lager and see how it stacks up against those big bad ale bullies that we usually see in craft beer circles. So just real quick before I open it, this can is really cool. It has the Lake Brothers on this side, Lake Brothers Lager, little logo on here. The colors are kind of reminiscent of a little bit of an off-brand, maybe, I don't know, U of M Wolverines. That's just my kind of take on it. But yeah, it's honest beer, honest folk, family-owned, all type of stuff like that all over the can. It almost seems like they're kind of trying a little bit too hard, but that's just my opinion. And I'm going to be using my River Rouge Brewing Company glass that I got. River Rouge is out in Royal Oak. It's a great little brewery. Stop in, have a drink. They got real good stuff there. Get that crack of the beer going. Not a whole lot of smell to it. Just right out of the can at least. I didn't really pour that very aggressively, but it really produced a nice head on it. It's kind of amber, goldish amber in color. A really nice thick head on there. Again, I'm not really getting, I get in my mustache, I did. I'm not getting a whole lot of a smell, like an aroma. My sense of smell isn't the greatest, but I'm not getting a lot out of that. It kind of has that kind of, if you've had a Budweiser, it kind of has that lagery kind of bite to it, but that's all I'm really smelling. Let's give it a taste. It's really crisp. It's got a lot of a kind of a caramel kind of flavor to it. It's almost like, so this is going to sound kind of weird, but I had a malt liquor from Old Nation called the German Hobo, and the aftertaste, it was really a lot of kind of caramel upfront flavor. And this one kind of has the same kind of thing going on. On the back end, it's kind of like a bitter, not a bitter, it's kind of like a sour apple kind of taste to it on the back. I know sometimes sour apple can kind of be a indication that a beer hasn't fermented long enough, but I don't think that's the case in this. It's like a crisp kind of sour apple taste to it. A little bit of a dry finish. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't taste it on the front of my tongue at all. It's all kind of on the back of my tongue. As far as lagers go, though, I think this is actually pretty good. I don't drink a lot of lagers. Like I said, Budweiser's a big lager. I kind of, you know, ever since I got into craft beer, there aren't a lot of companies that make craft beer lagers. Most of it's all ale. So, you know, it's like I said earlier, Shiner does it. I don't know if they're really considered craft. Yuengling is kind of on the, you know, some people say it's craft beer, some don't. I don't know if I consider it to be craft beer. It's just not one of the major players. But it's just a different kind of taste. It's not a bad taste. It's a good change of pace, though. I like it. It's got a nice mouthfeel, medium, not too thin, not too thick. Yeah, it's because it's so different than what we generally think of as craft beer. It has a little bit of a bite on the end, the aftertaste. It has that typical kind of lagery aftertaste, but the upfront is definitely very heavy on the caramel, kind of malty kind of taste, which that's a welcome change of pace. Like I said, the most recent one I can think of that had a similar taste was a malt liquor. And that's, I mean, you know, if you think about it, a lot of malt liquor, the producers of malt liquor are generally the bigger companies like a Budweiser, like a Miller Coors kind of thing. So it kind of makes sense. I guess it's probably not too much of a strain for malt liquor to be similar to that. But this Lake Brothers lager is pretty good. And I've been sitting on this for a while because I really wasn't sure how to really talk about it besides, you know, doing the research on it. And I couldn't find a lot of great research on it. But yeah, this is really malty and I like it quite a bit, actually. I'm not a huge, like I said, not a huge lager guy, but this one hits the spot. This is definitely it'd be a good lawnmower beer if you're out doing some yard work out in the heat, the August heat, which we're having right now. It would not be a bad idea to kick back and relax and drink one of these. All right, friends, that is Lake Brothers Lager. Sorry for being so wordy, but I think it's important to know where a beer comes from and why they have the tastes that they do. Anyways, have you had Lake Brothers Lager? Are there any other lagers out there, especially Michigan ones, that you can think of that are better or that I should also try? Leave your comments below this video, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews. You can also find links to my social media, my Instagram and my Facebook page, and my blog at drafttherapy.com. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by, and remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries, and until next time, treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.